a superb day's entertainment at Silverstone, the Foster's British Grand Prix, and the very, very popular winner indeed. Rubens Barrichello plays second fiddle virtually all the time to Michael Schumacher, but he had a bad Friday. He got pole yesterday and he has won the race today, the Grand Prix, in great style. Rubens Barrichello, 10 out of 10. Juan Pablo Montoya, I think that's the third race running he's been runner-up, isn't it? In second place. Then Kimi Raikkonen, third. Michael Schumacher, fourth, but he does stay top of the standings. David Coulthard, fourth. We're going to go straight to the press conference.
Grand Prix in third place to Kimi Raikkonen for West McLaren Mercedes. Second place for BMW Williams, Juan Pablo Montoya. And winning for the first time this year for Scuderia Ferrari Marlboro, Rubens Barrichello. Rubens, from the pole, you set fastest lap, but it was nothing like as easy as that, of course. Got to start with that guy that jumped out on the middle of Hangar Straight there. What was your reaction, and how did that change the shape of the race?
Well, I mean, first of all, I knew I had a car that it was fast enough for me to pull away. I was really confident on the Bridgestone tires, and as much as the improvements that we made since last week, I was really looking good. But the only question mark was the start, and there was a little bit of a problem on the warm-up lap, because although I started very slow for the pack to be slow, when I accelerated a little bit to get some temperature on the brakes and on the tire, Jarno didn't accelerate as much, so I opened a gap. And as far as I'm concerned, this is not the way it should be. We should keep the pack very close together. So he made me slow up a lot. And when I got to the grid, I waited for so long, and my tires really dropped temperature, and I had no grip at all when the start came. So I lost 2 positions, and then I kept it cool. I mean, it was very difficult for the first 2 laps to maintain the position, but I knew it was going to be okay. When the tires started to be okay, I mean, I had a good speed on the straight. It was difficult to overtake Kimi because he was as well quick on the straight. But I had nothing to lose today. It was make or break.
Well, you just set fastest lap when that guy came out and they put the safety car out. So talk us through those stages around that and how you felt when that happened.
I was so concentrated, I wasn't thinking of anything else. I mean, the team did a fantastic job to bring me in, but because it was crowded on the pits, I mean, they took so long to actually let me go. So you know, you think that with this cars it's going to be quite difficult to overtake, but today there was a difference in tires, and we were doing very well. So I was able to really take the advantage of my car to pass people, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, great passing maneuvers, and you were very, very quick either side of that second pit stop, and that unbelievable pass with Kimi there just after your pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, I almost lost my nose because to be honest, it was with the McLaren some time ago that I crashed into Abbey. And I was paying attention because the guy who's on the inside protecting the line, he can brake a lot earlier than when you think. So I pull away to the right in the right moment, but I almost lost my nose at that time. But it was fair. It was, but it was aggressive. It was we went into bridge like it was one coming out. So it was, but it was fair. It was good.
Just briefly describe your emotions now after winning this race so decisively.
I mean, for me, it's a fantastic feeling because I'm never down. I mean, it's something that people think, okay, Michael this, Michael that. Yeah, I love to be inside of a team that they work like they worked last week to make this car better, and like Bridgestone to make the tires better. Of course, it's quite hard so many times, but the last 2 weeks people have been saying so many things about first lap crashing, Rubens this and that, so I hope they shut up now. I overtook a lot of people.
Juan Pablo, you're a mate of Rubens. I'm sure you're delighted for him, but also a great drive for you. That second safety car dropped you way down in the midfield, though, and you sort of followed Rubens up through the field there. Great racing.
Yeah, because it was a stacked pit stop. I was behind Ralph when we came into the pits, and you know I had just to wait until Ralph left. So it was pretty hard. I came out of the pits, I was 13th, and Ralph was like P7 or P8. So it was pretty hard, but I managed to go by people really quick. You know, after one lap, I was 2 cars behind. You know, I think it was Furman, then Rubens, then Ralph, and he's like bam, bam, bam. Then it was pretty good because when Rubens was fighting with somebody, I was just behind. So I would been able to catch when Rubens would pass. Next lap, I would pass, and you know, all the way to the top. The only mistake I did is, I think a Jaguar blew up in the back straight, and I was every lap in the inside so I wouldn't go in the oil. And after the pit stop, I thought it should be pretty good now, and I braked in the oil and went straight. I think Kimi had the same problem when I passed him.
How do you think it compared today, Williams, BMW against Ferrari?
They looked a bit strong, not that much stronger. They were, from what I remember in testing in long runs, they were a lot stronger. I was pretty pleased with my pace. I lost quite a bit of time on my mistake, but apart from that, he was a couple of times quicker than me. That was all. So I was very pleased.
Well, Kimi, a spectacular race from you as well. Second place at the start behind Jarno. How did you feel in those opening laps? It looked as if you could pass Jarno if you had the opportunity.
Yeah, I was just maybe a little bit quicker on a big enough race, but I was not able to get enough close on the back straight to try to overtake him. And then I started to lost a little bit rear grip, and Rubens was so much stronger out of the club that I wasn't able to hold him off. And then it was the safety car, and after the restart I got really good restart and over the truly, and got many places after that. But
in your second stop, you actually stopped 4 laps earlier than Rubens. Was that because of the tyre situation, or was that always planned?
I don't know really, because all the plans went a bit different when the safety car came in and or out, and we decided to stop. And I was just going as long as they're gonna tell me to come in, but it worked out well. But then first few laps was okay, and then I dropped again the rear tires a little bit, and it was difficult.
Just talk us through that incident at Bridge that Rubens just described from your point of view.
Yeah, I knew that because before he overtook me after the club corner into the next braking, and I knew that he has much better traction out of that long right-hander, and I tried to hold him off, and I was able for 2 corners, but then he was side of me in the bridge, and I just tried to went around the outside, but got a little bit on the dirty side and run slightly wide, and he got past.
The nice thing was that you gave him room as well. And then after that, the tyres started to go away, or the grip went away?
Yeah, in the end of the race, the tyres were okay again, but it took so many laps to come back that it was difficult. And then I don't really know, maybe it was oil or something else, and braking into the corner 7 after the back straight, I just touched the brake and lost the rear completely, and was quite lucky to get back on the circuit.
Thank you, Kimi. Now if we could have some words from you in your own language, starting with Rubens.
And we'll leave those 3 to talk to their own respective countries. Just confirming the result, then you know the top 3. Michael Schumacher 4th, David Coulthard 5th, a fine effort that, starting 12th on the grid. Jarno Trulli 6th, Cristiano Da Matta scoring a couple for Toyota, and Jenson Button starting 20th and last, making his point in the BAR. So in the Drivers' Championship, Michael Schumacher is 7 points ahead of Kimi Raikkonen now. Juan Pablo Montoya up into 3rd above his teammate Ralf Schumacher. Barrichello scoring 10 today on 49 points. Alonso and on 39. David Coulthard within 6 of Alonso, and Trulli on 16. And in the Constructors' Championship, to tidy it all up for you, Ferrari have actually opened up their lead over Williams by 10 points at the top. McLaren 95, Renault 55, BAR 14, Jaguar 12, Jordan Sauber and Toyota, who of course scored today, on 7. Okay, let's get the studio verdict, shall we? And I think it is really thumbs up, 10 out of 10, great performance and a really great race, Tony.
Well, I think we lost count of the overtaking manoeuvres after 30, and it was just reminding me of some of the great races at Spa and Monza when people kept swapping places. The thing we were talking about was, they've neutered some of the tracks. This is a great track. And you said in the track guide, where was all the overtaking going on? You pointed out Vale.
Yeah.
It worked, didn't it? Stowe out through there.
I have to say, you, Mark, you tend to sit here and take it all in as a pro. You were jumping up and down off your chair here a few times.
I really enjoyed it. I really did. But I mean, we may not have the latest and greatest circuit here, but whoa, did we have a great race. Best Formula 1 race I've seen in years.
We had an incident that will, I'm sure, have to be well reported, and we're going to have a look at it now, at this fellow on the track. And Mark Blundell, really, I mean, you're a racing driver, you come around and you see somebody on the circuit, how do you react?
Well, what do? You see somebody running down the circuit towards you. I mean, it's bad enough if there's debris or a car, which is, quite a big object, but you're doing 170 miles an hour there on the front end of Hanger Straight. I think the marshal did a fantastic job, got the guy off just for his own safety. Sheer madness.
Yeah, we do know who he is. I'm not going to dignify him by giving his name out on television. That is exactly what he wants. He calls that his peace dance. In my view, lucky not to end up in pieces, Tony. But what will this do for Silverstone? Will they be criticised for this?
Well, of course they will be, as Hockenheim was when it happened. Ironically enough, when Rubens Barrichello won the German Grand Prix there in 2000. You cannot marshal every inch of all the spectator fencing. There are gaps when the marshals are concentrating on the racing, watching the action on there, looking out for the safety. There are slip roads, there are small holes in the fences where the photographers, someone could nip through. It could happen anywhere.
We can get an official view now. It comes from the MD of Silverstone, Mr. Andrew Waller.
Andrew Waller, you're the Managing Director of Silverstone. What can you tell us about this man who ran across the track?
Well, we understand from the police following the incident that a 56-year-old man has been arrested in connection with an offence of aggravated trespass. And we understand he will be interviewed by police in Northampton later today. We have launched with the Motorsports Association, who are the governing body of motorsport here in the UK and who organise the race, launched a full investigation, and we at Silverstone will be supporting that in every way we can. Beyond that, at this stage, it's difficult to have any further information or be able to make any further comment.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
Let's get the views now, shall we, of the F1 Supremo, Mr. Bernie Eccleston.
Bernie, unbelievable scenes today with I can only say a lunatic running on the track. What's your view on that kind of thing?
Probably not necessary. It was an exciting race without that.
Will you be taking any further action?
No, I'm not running myself, to be honest with you. I won't do that.
Do you think it's something that the FIA will want to investigate further?
I mean, we will, the safety people, have a look at it and see. I mean, it means that the security wasn't good, or I don't know how it actually got on. That's what we need to look at. But you can't stop. When somebody does those sort of things, I don't know what you do about it.
Silverstone's already come under fire for various different things. Will this impact on how you feel about the circuit and how the FIA feel about the circuit?
No, I mean, we haven't changed with what our problems are. We're not complaining about what has been done, we're complaining about what hasn't. They spent the money in the wrong places, that's all. We get it right.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the race, shall we? Talk about the start of the race. And Rubens Barrichello making the point in the press conference, Mark. He was a bit upset that Jarno Trulli kept him waiting there. Has he got a point?
Well, Rubens is the pole sitter. Rubens paces the lap to what he wants to do. And it's really for the rest of the pack to make sure that they sit with him. He obviously felt a little bit aggrieved that Jarno didn't keep up with it and made him wait when he got to the front end of the grid on pole. The chances are that, yes, the tyres cooled off a little bit. He didn't get traction when he needed it, and he didn't get off the line first, and that was costly to him at the beginning of the race. Overall, quite a nice start. I think the Renaults, we always knew were going to be fast starting. Raikkonen also made a fantastic start, but a lot of action further down the grid, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, superb action all the way through the grid, and I mean, it was a while. So that's how the race started. You know, it started off with everyone overtaking into the first corner. It continued right the way through to the checkered flag.
This was the race when we were supposed to have got rid of traction control, of course, wasn't it?
It was. The gizmos were all meant to go, and we were looking forward to wheels spinning off the line. And
we live in hope. We live in hope
controls.
here, don't we? You've got a point to make, I think, about Michael Schumacher and Fernando Alonso. Alonso challenging, and I get the impression you're a bit upset with Michael Schumacher about this, Mark.
Oh, actually, I just want to see what Ross Brawn has to say about it. I mean, I just was a little bit horrified in his comments when we watched Germany the other day with the Montoya overtaking manoeuvre. And, you know, if we watch what goes on here, there's a scenario here with Michael and Alonso. Watch now, yeah? Just moves completely over and then puts him on the grass. I mean, for me, you know, is that unclassy driving? I don't know. I want to speak with Ross, see what he says.
Well, we'll see if we can get that reaction for you, shall we? Headrests, we don't normally see them flying off, and David Coulthard, who had a pretty miserable qualifying on Saturday, must have wondered what was going on when that happened, Tony. What did you make of that incident?
Well, it just shows you at a high-speed track, unless everything is fully battened down, things can fly off. And clearly, here we go. This is the whole neck and head safety system, which was started in '97 to give that extra protection, cockpit protection. But of course, it is specially moulded to help the air and guide the air up towards the air intake as well above the engine. But you can't leave that sort of debris on the track. Shards are what causes punctures. You have an instant puncture, someone could go off and have a big crash.
You've got a little theory that might have been a result of the cars being in Parc Fermé overnight, meaning nobody could get hold of them.
Well, that is one of the downsides. Obviously, that piece on the car could have been loose after the qualifying session. You know, it goes in Parc Fermé, nobody can check it, something like that happens. Good or bad, at the end of the day, it was a great race, but it's still a dangerous thing to happen.
You spoke before the start about Rubens giving you a little tap in your last race of the season. He certainly knows his way around here. He loves, your last race of your career, I should say. He loves overtaking here, doesn't he? Came through from 21st to 2nd last year. And, well, we loads of overtaking things we could pick out. We picked him out against Kimi and against Ralph.
I think what Martin Brundle said in the commentary, driver of the day, nobody else could touch him. Fantastic race for him. Best Grand Prix I've ever seen him drive, I think. Comes up to Kimi Raikkonen here, up to Abbey, squeezes him. It's just textbook stuff. And he made every single move like that. Ralph Schumacher, another great move here. Look, just hounds him, puts Ralph under pressure, locks a wheel up, doesn't get worried himself, just puts his car in the right position, gets back on the throttle, makes the move again on the run up to Abbey. It's just unbelievable stuff. I mean, this is what Grand Prix racing is all about.
But as we were also discussing, I mean, this is his second home.
Yeah.
You know, he honed all his talents here. He won the Formula 3 British Championship here in '91 when he was battling against David Coulthard. And it was all from your era as well, because I know he lived near you in Cambridge. So it means a lot to him to win here. And he raced for Dick Bennett, the same man who ran Ayrton Senna in Formula 3. He followed in Senna's shoes. It means a lot to him. That's why he was crying on the podium.
Means a lot to Juan Pablo Montoya to do here. I think he had the Union Jack on one side and the Colombian flag on the other, didn't he, before the start? And he had a great race, finishing second. Took Jarno Trulli quite tidily, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Monty, I mean, he is the #1 guy overtaken. I mean, watches, just slips down the inside. Jarno doesn't even know what's coming. And that was just the race in general, wasn't it? It was so many great moves by so many great drivers.
I tell you, it's unbelievable seeing all these passing things, isn't it? We normally see, I mean, so was there a little passing up? I mean, they're coming out of our ears here today, Tony.
But the point that we need to make is a lot of the great circuits have been neutered. The next one we're going to, Hockenheim, used to be a fantastic, long, slipstreaming circuit. Thank goodness they haven't done the same to Monza. They haven't done the same at Silverstone. The drivers love coming to Silverstone because they always know they have great races, high-speed track. It tests every part of the car, especially the aerodynamics and, of course, the engines.
Let's have a look at Kimi Raikkonen. He spoke about it in the press conference against Rubens Barrichello. It looked as though Kimi had got past him in the pits, and then Rubens did the business out on the track, Mark.
Well, Rubens did the business on the track, no end. I mean, this situation here, Raikkonen goes by, takes the lead of the Grand Prix again. Rubens has got the pace all race long. He's topped off with a little bit of fuel now. Doesn't take him long to get on the backside of him here, look. Again, nice move, coming to the Abbey corner again where he made so many manoeuvres, puts him under pressure, positions himself, accelerates out, going down to bridge. You've got to have a lot of skill and a lot of bottle to do that, I can assure you. Kimi runs a little bit wide, that's the end of him. He's a few seconds behind, Rubens drops him. Great, great stuff.
150, 160 miles an hour there.
150 miles an hour through there.
Okay, let's have a word with another fellow who went very, very quickly today. Started stone last, ended up with a point. Jenson Button, here he is with Louise.
Well, Jensen, points today from the back of the grid was a bit of a tall order, but you made it.
Yeah, it's hard work. It was a lot of fun though. You know, after the first safety car, it was looking pretty swish, and I was up to 12th. And then the second safety car for that madman running on the circuit, I dropped back to 18th again. So it was hard work all over again. But it's fantastic to get back up there, and it's actually fantastic to fight with other people on the circuit, passing and stuff, because I haven't done that for a while.
There were some brilliant battles going on out there.
It was everywhere down the field. It was fantastic, even to watch for me. You know, I could see the cars in front batting it out, and it was good. That's what racing is, and it's good to have so many good races this year.
So
Smile for one of the local teams, not so good for the other one. Jordan just across the road here. Giancarlo Fisichella, Tony, a real high-speed departure from the British Grand Prix.
Well, we've seen a suspension breakage for Jenson Button, of course, in qualifying when he went off and he hit the curb at a strange angle going through Beckett's. Now, whether Fisichella has had some moments and thumped over the curbs and just weakened it and then suddenly off it goes, but I think the big danger was him continuing and going across the path of another car, which, of course, fellow Jordan driver did last year, the little Japanese fellow, when he got hit by
Thank you very much. More from you two in a moment. We have a competition as well. We will be right back to complete our Silverstone coverage. Back with us at Silverstone. Rubens Barrichello has won the British Grand Prix here. David Coulthard, top British driver, finishing in 5th place, and he got there thanks to a really good overtaking mover on Jarno Trulli.
Well, I think it's a very gritty drive. He did say from the beginning, I'm going to have to attack the race. That's exactly what he did. It's interesting that the two Brits are in the same campsite as Villeneuve as well. Villeneuve, not a lot to celebrate, but he's got a lot to celebrate here because I think it was a fantastic gritty drive. But Mark, I mean, what did you make of this? I thought it was a great move.
At DC, again, textbook move, just comes on the outside of him at Stowe, look, pressures him, keeps it wheel to wheel, just makes him have a little bit of pressure on his shoulders when he runs into a Val corner. And here, look, goes all the way around the outside. Truly gives him a little bit of room, which he needed, but Coulthard stuck with it, and that's what it takes. Great, great stuff.
Toughing it out around the outside is brave.
It's hardly a campsite, by the way. They're in luxury there. What are you talking about? No tents involved where they're staying, are there?
No, very nice plush motorhomes. Well, you've been invited in. We were left outside.
I have, quite right too, by the way. Let's hear from David Coulthard now. He's with Lou.
Well, David, you got some points. Were you happy with the race at the end of the day?
Yeah, I think that's a positive race for me. Obviously, at various points during the race, I had some problems. The safety car was caused, unfortunately, because my head restraint broke. Then I thought I was in trouble with the position, but then another safety car due to the unfortunate incident with someone on the track. But I have to say that Charlie Whiting and the official Silverstone reacted brilliantly. They had that under control very quickly, and then we had a good race from there.
Just explain to us, how can the headrest break like that?
There's a pin supporting it at the front, which obviously it's not bolted in place because it's one of the things that's removed if the driver has a severe accident. So it's got to be able to pull out, and unfortunately the bond that joins the carbon to the metal actually broke. That could have happened. I could have leant on it when I got in the car. Anything like that could have broken it, and unfortunately it showed up on lap 2.
David Coulthard at 5th, Justin Wilson 15th. He talks now to Louise. Okay, not quite there yet, but let's have a quick word about the other two British drivers. So, about Justin Wilson, about Ralph Furman. You first, Tony.
Well, Justin Wilson for me has just done a great job all season long, and now, of course, there's all this conjecture about his future and where he's going to go. He's been supported, by the way, by Mark Webber as well. Possibly could see him in a Jaguar.
Okay, I think we can actually hear from Justin now.
Well, Justin, the end of a long, hard day.
Yeah, it's quite a frustrating race, really. We had a close call on the first lap, and I think that broke my wing, so I was just struggling with understeer until the first pit stop, and then they changed the front wing, but cost too much time.
Very quick final analysis, Mark.
Brilliant Grand Prix, and I think there's 70,000 people out there with a big smile on their face.
I think it's one of the most exciting Grand Prix ever, and I think the World Championship is going to go down to the wire all the way to Japan.
Sure it will do, Mark. Tony, thank you very much indeed. Well, now that competition I promised you, the prize, a Toyota helmet signed by Cristiano D'Amata. Here is the question. We want you to tell us who won last year's British Grand Prix. Was it A, David Coulthard, B, Michael Schumacher, or C, Ralph Schumacher? A, Coulthard, B, Michael Schumacher, C, Ralph Schumacher. The phone number 09065 811 811. 09065 811 811. Enter by text on F1 A, B or C 84188 or via the ITV F1 website. Competition closes at midnight on July the 30th. Today, the 14th stage of the compelling Tour de France. The riders facing several agonising climbs in the Pyrenees.
Can't stop the spirits when they need you. This life is more than just a read-through.
And a reminder, you can follow the tour every night at 7 on ITV2, today's show with Gary Imlach, coming right up here on 1. We have highlights and much more reaction from the British Grand Prix tonight at 11:25. The show repeated tomorrow evening at 6 before the Tour de France on 2. Next stop for us, Germany, in a couple of weeks' time, and we have our extensive coverage from Hockenheim right the way through from qualifying 1, 11:30 on the Friday. Live coverage of qualifying 2, the race live just after midday on the Sunday, highlights 11:45. It really takes your breath away, this one. A great race at Silverstone. Bags of overtaking, too many to count, really. One man came very close to needing an undertaker's services. The only blemish on an absolutely marvellous British Grand Prix. We hope you've all enjoyed it at home as much as we have right here. Bye-bye.
Formula One on ITV, sponsored by Toyota.